Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As I'm sure you already know, the 87th Annual Academy Awards happened just last night, and here's a quick, unedited audio editorial with regards to my thoughts. Now, I was definitely satisfied with a lot of the winners. I cannot say for certain that I got all my predictions correct. I got about 16 out of the 24 correct, and the thing is, there were quite a few surprises, and some of the surprises were more positive rather than shocks. Now, let's get into it. For visual effects, I was so happy to see Interstellar get an award. I mean, I think it deserved it. I just thought it wasn't going to win. I thought Planet of the Apes might win. So for Interstellar to win one of its 5 possible categories was something so incredibly satisfying to me. And of course, the Grand Budapest Hotel took away costume and production. It took away makeup as well, which I personally didn't see coming. I thought Guardians had a better shot, but at the same time, I can certainly see why all of that happened. And of course, film editing, I was so happy. So very happy that Whiplash won, because I think at the end of the day, if you look at the film singularly with regards to the category, which I think they did a lot this time, there wasn't a lot of focus on, you know, oh, say this film wins this award, that it has to win, like, for example, Best Picture. Normally, a Best Picture winner would have to have a Best Editing nomination, which in this year was not the case. They felt maybe, oh, do they have to give it Best Actor? Not necessarily. So I think there was a bit more of an individual look at the categories, which I was happy about. Moving on, I do have to say that cinematography was undoubtedly going to go to Birdman. There was no shot that any other film had at this point, and I think it definitely deserved it. Now, sound mixing, once again, to see Whiplash win an award was something so satisfying to me, because I think that that film, as small as it was, not just for the director, but even for some of the actors and the people that worked on it, is really going to give them the push they need, and it's ultimately more of the fan favorite amongst the Best Picture nominees. Sound editing, American Sniper, I think it should have, in reality, maybe gone to Interstellar or something, but I understand that they didn't want to shut the film out entirely, so I can see why Sniper won. It's not like it did a bad job at sound editing or anything, but I'm not 100% sure that it was the top contender in that category. Now, with regards to song and score, I was very satisfied. I think Glory, of course, the performance which brought people to tears, by the way, something I was so satisfied to witness. I mean, it was incredible to see Chris Pine and David Oyelowo just crying because of how impactful the song was and even the performance was. In fact, on a side note, the sets and a lot of the graphic design this year was absolutely fantastic. Furthermore, I think that even the host, Neil Patrick Harris, he really did a good job with regards to a lot of his jokes. He did have a few puns here and there. Nonetheless, I think he was really funny and was one of the better hosts I've seen in recent years. His musical number was outstanding. And at the same time, I felt like he did a lot of things that were more innovative and fresh, especially coming out almost naked on stage was something that I thought was incredibly gutsy, but at the same time incredibly entertaining. Now back to the awards. For original song, of course, I said Glory from Selma, my personal favorite, and of course, glad to see it win. Definitely a relevant song in a relevant film. And original score, while I thought The Theory of Everything had this in the bag because it won the BAFTA and the Golden Globe, I personally didn't think that The Theory of Everything deserved to win, and it didn't. And I was so happy to see Alexandre Desplat actually get an Academy Award, because he hasn't won before, and he got 2 nominations this year. He's done a great amount of work. It's a great body of work that he's worked on. Of course, I said work a lot, I know, but he's done a great job throughout his career, and I think has definitely earned this award. Not just from a singular film perspective, but even from a career-based perspective. Now, I can't necessarily comment on animated short, live action short, and documentary short. I'm not 100% equipped with the knowledge to really talk about them, though I did get my predictions right, so there is that. For documentary feature, Citizen 4 was the front runner. Virunga is something that's getting a lot of buzz as well, and the Roger Ebert documentary Life Itself seems to have been overlooked this year, however. Foreign language film, again, Ida or Leviathan were going to win, and Ida took it. Now, animated feature, however, was something I was so happy with, because I knew the Lego Movie wasn't nominated. That was probably my favorite animated film and one of my favorite films of the year. Then I said, what am I going to look forward to next? And I thought How to Train Your Dragon 2 was going to take it. I was 100% sure How to Train Your Dragon 2 was going to take it. And the moment they announced Big Hero 6, I was beyond ecstatic. Though I was wrong in terms of my prediction and whatnot, it's just that amongst the list of films that were nominated, I think Big Hero 6 definitely delivered the most, not just from an entertaining perspective, but really use the animation well to create an interesting visual world and at the same time create an incredibly effective emotional story that really had this eclectic set of characters. And it created a beautiful world and really harkened to a lot of what Disney is known for with regards to combining adventure and emotion. Now, screenplay, of course, was something that I was pretty sure about with The Imitation Game winning, though I personally believe that Whiplash should have taken screenplay by all means. The Imitation Game won, and I can understand why. Original screenplay, Birdman winning, not my personal pick, of course. I would have gone with Nightcrawler, but from this perspective, I knew that Birdman definitely was going to win, and deserved this award. And the moment that Alejandro Iñárritu went up to accept this award, I thought, okay, maybe Boyhood is going to win Director and Picture because they've given him the Screenplay Award. So let's see how things go. But that's not exactly how they did it. Like I said, there was a more individual look at categories, because I feel like if there was a broader look at every category, Boyhood would have actually won, and maybe Birdman would have got some awards as compensation, if you will. So it's interesting to see how the awards actually worked out. Boyhood did win one award, which I was a bit surprised by. I thought Boyhood was going to take the big Best Picture award, and I wouldn't say I'm happy it didn't, but it wasn't amongst even my top 4 or 5 choices amongst the list. Anyway, so Patricia Arquette, of course, won, beyond deserving, as did J.K. Simmons, who was also beyond deserving. Whiplash won 3 Academy Awards, probably my favorite film of last year. I haven't been able to review it. At the same time, I'll announce something at the end of this video that you should look forward to, and my god, I was so happy to see these 2 speeches that really managed to say a lot more. One about women and ecological development, and the other about, your parents and texting and technology and all that. It was fantastic to witness, people actually using their speeches for a greater, grander purpose. Best Actress, I don't agree with Julianne Moore winning, but I knew she was going to, so that's fine. It was Best Actor that I was actually really ecstatic about, because I thought Michael Keaton was great, but I thought amongst the list, once again, Eddie Redmayne deserved to win the most. And when he did, just watching him be so nervous on stage was something fantastic to witness, and it really shows that this man has a long career ahead of him. Best Director, this one, Linklater not winning, to me, I wouldn't say is an insult or an upset by any means. I mean, I thought he was going to. I thought Boyhood did pull off an incredible feat, but that doesn't deny the feat that Birdman was as well. So from that perspective, I can see and of course be satisfied with Birdman winning. There weren't a lot of other directors in contention, maybe Wes Anderson, but I felt like The Grand Budapest got 4 awards, which was definitely its due, and I'm so happy to see that film get recognized. But Best Picture, I mean, each of the nominees picked up at least 1 award, which is good to see. There was a decent distribution. You had Birdman winning the big award, and my god, I was really satisfied because I love Birdman as a film. So to see it win got me very excited, to say the least. And I did think for a moment what the repercussions might be, and I do see that people are already rather disappointed in the fact that, a film that took 12 years to make, did not necessarily win the award. In my personal opinion, I felt like it was an incredible achievement, no doubt, but from a film perspective alone, I don't know how much it really appealed to me per se. So maybe it not winning director is a bigger argument than it not winning picture. At the same time, Birdman winning 4 awards, including the biggest one of the night, is something that is really interesting because it's a relatively smaller film. You look at Argo. Argo released in October, had a broad appeal, made over $100 million, at least had that kind of appeal, and managed to reach out to a certain audience. Even 12 Years a Slave had this more universal appeal with regards to racism and its message and everything that it was trying to show with regards to the character. Birdman, however, I think people, dare I say, more on the inside, but maybe more film fans or people part of the community will get a lot more of Birdman than maybe some others might not, or pay attention to it from a different perspective, which is why I believe it winning is a bit out of left field, but ultimately for the better, because it's going to expose people to films like this. And I think that's what the Academy Awards are about, exposing people to newer kinds of films, different kinds of films, and ultimately honoring what tends to be the best. And I'm actually satisfied that one of my personal favorites actually won this year. If I look at the past few years, sure, Argo was amongst my top 10, and 12 Years a Slave also amongst my top 10, and even Birdman is. At the same time, them winning, I think I've been most satisfied with Birdman winning so far. It was a technological feat and just an incredible achievement all around. And I gotta say, it's been a fantastic year for movies. And to follow that up, before I go, I have my Snubby Movie Awards. I announced the nominations probably a few weeks to a month ago. It's gonna take me time to put up the video, probably sometime in March, hopefully by the end of March. And it's been about a week or so since I've actually uploaded a video. It tends to be a busy time, a lot more still to come in my Snubby Movie Awards. Hopefully, I can make it a lot shorter than last year, make it simpler, and at the same time satisfy the viewers with an award show, blending my own opinion with, of course, the grander opinion, and hopefully honoring the best in film as the Academy tries to do. But nonetheless, I'm satisfied with this year's Oscars. It was definitely a great year for film.